Welcome everyone. Let's start. Yeah. Would anyone want to read this out for us? The opening aspiration.
Yeah, I'll read.
Okay. Yes, please.
With boundless compassion and wisdom, I will work for the welfare of all. May we be free from hunger and discord and have joy and a world at peace.
So today we have to start with the first verse. Just a second. I hope it's clear and visible to all. And just like we will just keep on reading these passages, and whenever anyone wants to share reflection, you're welcome to unmute and share, and we'll just go passage by passage reading this and maybe taking pauses in between and reflecting over it. Yeah, so would anyone want to read the first half?
Making life meaningful. Now that I have this great ship, a precious human life, so hard to obtain, I must carry myself and others across the ocean of samsara. To that end, to listen, reflect, and meditate day and night without distraction is the practice of a Bodhisattva. Samsara is sometimes described as a wheel, but it is also often likened to an ocean. Just as an ocean has large, powerful waves and dangerous tides, so in samsara we are tossed up and down endlessly. Sometimes we are up, sometimes we are down. Then we are up again and then down again. It is just endless. The problem is that we are caught in the waves and continuously thrown up and thrown down. We get battered by life. Let us remember that all these waves going up and down are on the surface. If we go down into the depths of the ocean, we come upon whole realms of calm and quiet with all sorts of fascinating fish and marine animals and monsters of the deep.
Thank you. Any thoughts are welcome.
Hi, Monica. Good evening. So,
Yes,
I
please
just,
go ahead.
yeah. So, in the past week, I had the opportunity to go through that the ego video. Then there was, I think, the last Friday's Sunlit Path had on morality, and today, some of this. So, one of the questions that came up for me is, uh, so when do we really truly say that, we are a content human being with, with all the things that go on in samsara, as put across just now. There are waves, and we are probably going through up and down many levels. So how do we, sort of come to that, um, uh, not a defining moment, but a moment which says that, yes, I am here, and this is where this moment, or this is where I'm truly content. I think this is the question that has been coming up in the past, couple of, this last 1 week. So, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, if anyone has any thoughts.
I think if we are on the surface of the being, the thoughts like waves will assail us, toss and turn. But if we go deep within, we'll find the calmness, but at the same time, meet the monsters. Yeah, that's how I'm interpreting this.
Yeah. We have many pointers with the mother's prayers also. And when we were reading
Yeah.
this, yeah, so when Taru was reading this passage, I was reminded of a couple of prayers which exactly are talking about this passage. So I'm trying to bring them up for all of us. Just give me a moment. So this one is one, and then there is another, but let us go to first through this one. Yeah, would anyone want to read? It's a very nice little prayer, not that long, 1 page. Yeah, anyone who wants to go ahead and read it.
This page, Monica?
Yes, the page in front. You want to read?
Right. Okay. Yeah. So May 26, 1914. On the surface is the storm. The sea is in turmoil. Waves clash and leap one on another and break with a mighty uproar. But all the time, under this water, in fury, are vast smiling expanses, peaceful and motionless. They look upon the surface agitation as an indispensable act, for matter has to be vigorously churned if it is to become capable of manifesting entirely the divine light. Behind the troubled appearance, behind the struggle and anguish of the conflict, the consciousness remains firm at its post, observing all the movements of the outer being. It intervenes only to rectify direction and position, so as not to allow the play to become too dramatic. This intervention is now firm and a little severe, now ironical, a call to order or a mockery, full always of a strong, gentle, peaceful, and smiling benevolence. In the silence, I beheld thy infinite and eternal beatitude. Then softly a prayer rises towards thee from what is still in the shadow and the struggle. O sweet Master, O supreme giver of illumination and purity, grant that all substance and every activity may be no more anything other than a constant manifestation of thy divine love and thy sovereign serenity. And in my heart is the song of gladness of thy sublime magnificence.
Yeah, thank you. So Nandini, do you resonate with at least, the first passage? I think it's really
Yes, yes, yes. I got my answer.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes,
There
yeah.
was another prayer which was in alignment. Just a second. Yeah, this one. 29th, November 29, 1913. Here also it's similar, see, here Mother says, why all this noise, all this movement, this vain and futile agitation? She can see, on the surface, maybe in another being or herself. Why this whirlwind carrying? I think this is about people in front of Mother when she's seeing, that how we are so agitated and taken away by the agitation. Why this whirlwind carrying men away like a swarm of flies caught in a storm? How sad is the sight of all that wasted energy, all those useless efforts. When will they stop dancing like puppets on a string? Pulled they know not by whom or what. When will, I think this was your question regarding yourself also, when will they find time to sit quietly and go within, to recollect themselves and open that inner door which screens from them thy priceless treasures, thy infinite wounds? And again, she, along with the agitation, she also in every prayer, Mother shares with us the remedy, which is to again go deep in the being. And as you were asking, this, how to do that, and when will a moment come when this will become like effortless, natural? I think we can be sure that we are very, very far away from that stability, and yet we are very close also, paradoxically, because each moment we have the choice to be in that, stability, right? So each moment matters, each moment matters, right? So each moment, again, as Mother says, step back from the surface consciousness. There may be turmoil on the surface consciousness, but you also are aware of the inner being parallelly. It doesn't mean that you become a stone like thing, and you have no emotions, no feeling. It doesn't mean like that. And in fact, lately we had shared a video where Ajahn Amaro was talking on what is the use of meditation, why to meditate. And there also he was saying that on the surface you may be crying, you may be in tears, but deep, parallelly, you have also a sense of calm and stability, and that happens each moment. So I think we can really forget about when will it happen. Is it happening right now for me? So again, bringing the mind back to the present moment, because mind, the tendency of the monkey mind is it goes and jumps to, okay, मेरा कब होगा, अच्छा उसका शायद लग रहा है हो गया, मेरा कब होगा? अब उसका भी हमें नहीं पता, और अपना अभी एक मोमेंट का पता हो तो उतना बहुत है, right? Because next moment we don't know, right? We are alive or not, that itself we don't know. So why to talk about whether I'll be stable in next moment or not? Right now, am I, living my highest possibility? That I can control, that I can take care of. And be sure that as long as the human body is there, some or the other relative degree of surface agitation will be there, will be there. So I think many a times on spiritual path, we also have many images that as if you become completely equanimous, and even of equanimity, we have images. Of love, we have images, right? Of compassion, we have images. But we actually, this is really a beautiful space to reach, where you actually question yourself and you say, I don't know what true love is. I don't know what true compassion is. It's a very grounded state of being, where from where we can then explore. Let me explore what is true compassion, because I know that I have images of compassion. I know that I have images of equanimity, of stability. So let me, explore it, be open and flexible. Yeah. So parallelly, I think that's the quality. And many a times, our natural essence, our true essence, has been compared to space. Space can hold tsunamis and storms at the same time. It's not that if space is there, the tsunamis and storms would be absent. They are there. And the space is so vast, it's so stable that it can hold anything. It can hold the shattering of the complete universe. That is the capacity of space. And that is happening in us. All the time this is happening. It's just that we are unaware that it is happening. We, all of us at this stage of life, wherever we are, haven't we gone through many shatterings? We have. We are still there. So that awareness, that consciousness, which is mostly at the background, we are unaware of it. It is actually doing its role, which is to hold space for all that wants to arise, wants to disappear, wants to arise, wants to disappear. So why to say that when will this end? How do that space care for when will this end? Because space is space. It's vast, it's flexible. It doesn't bother for the play to end. But the only thing is that we get identified with the happenings in the space. And that's why through meditation, I step back and I take the stance as the space, which can hold sadness, which can hold grief, which can hold happiness, which can hold turmoils. Everything can happen. It's like a free play happening. And yet you are stepped back. So this stepping back, I think with mother also this comes again and again, where mother says, know yourself as the consciousness which has been seeing the ups and downs of life. Know yourself as that. And in meditation or Buddhist teachings also this comes again and again, that disidentify from the conceptual, limited thinking mind. Yeah. And that doesn't mean that the drama would end. The drama can go on. Yeah. Now it doesn't matter that much actually. Now earlier the drama was too real. Like, oh my God, what would happen? Like, that. Oh, or yeah, feel excitement about something, that wow, look what has happened. So either there or either in the disappointment. But now, whether it is disappointment or excitement, I mean, okay, like no big deal. For the space, tsunami is not a big deal. For a little person, tsunami may be a big deal. So that's why we have to disidentify. Again and again, we get stuck at many points, and then disidentify. That's our process. I mean, I don't see any shortcut. Maybe someone has found, but somehow in my life, my journey itself, I can't see any shortcut. Yeah. Yeah. Any more thoughts? Any reflections?
Yeah, it feels that, in my seeking for contentment lies the discontentment, right? Because content I can be, especially, somehow even while growing up, I also had this thing, because somehow in the Vedantic thing, it feels as if there's a point, and as soon as you step beyond that point, there is bliss, there is nirvana, there is contentment, like it's a line, and you are on the other side, and that's not true. That was just my imagination or my perception of how things were told to me. Because otherwise, it's just moment to moment. If this moment I feel content, like just referring to what you were saying underneath, then I am content, right? Like if I'm thinking, when will I be content? The answer is probably never, because if I'm not content right now, then when it's a happening. But right now I'm talking about action and doings, right? So that is just asking myself, am I not okay right now? Right? Am I not whole right now? Because the word shattering that was used right now, and what shatters, right? Like I feel I shatter. And yet those are my perceptions of how things are, right? My images, my expectations, my picture perfect memories and relationships, right? So the shattering, it feels that, oh my God, things are shattering. But if we look at what is shattering, then one can step back and see, oh, okay, yeah, maybe that must shatter because I'm holding on too tight, right? So just, yeah, I guess that's all for me. Thank you.
Yeah, so I think here a very important reflection, especially coming from Buddhist teachings also, that why to really, they talk about shamatha meditation or vipassana meditation, why to do that? Because we see that when we are identified, and meditation doesn't just mean sitting meditation, I'm talking about, and this is also talking about living mindfully. Basically, we know what's happening in the being, because when I know what's happening in the being, then I'm a bit stepped away from the happening. Otherwise I would not be able to know. In order to know that, oh, sadness is going on, I'm already in a stepped back condition. Oh, I'm becoming angry, so the ripple of anger is seen. Somebody is there, some witness consciousness is there which sees and is aware of the happening. And this comes in very different forms. It's beautiful to see. With mother also the same thing comes in a different way. And with Kabir, he says, why are you sleeping? Wake up to yourself. Don't keep sleeping. So being mindful of what is happening in your being. And usually we are so lost and identified, just like she's sharing here, that continuously being thrown up and down with the waves, that there is hardly any space to step back. So the problem is that we are caught in the waves and continuously thrown up and down. When we get battered by life, let us remember that all these waves going up and down are on the surface. So this is how we can find solace. That, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God is happening. And then suddenly you say, oh, that's just the surface. I can look at it. So that looking is a bit step back. The moment you take stance as the looking. So let us remember that all these waves going up and down are on the surface. If we go down into the depths of the ocean, which Mother also shares as a remedy, that the only solace as I found is to delve and plunge deep into you, into the ocean of my being. If we go down into the deep depths of the ocean, we come upon whole realms of calm and quiet, with all sorts of fascinating fish and marine animals and the monsters of the deep. So it's not only all beauty, and that's why meditation cannot be used as a drug or a medicine for all problems. That's why we need people like psychotherapists or psychiatrists at time, because if you, in a very psychologically disturbed condition, you begin to meditate and you enter into your own depth, you not only meet calmness, you also meet a lot of shadow and darkness. So when we are dealing with psychological issues, we most of the times cannot do it alone. We have to need help of a practitioner, so as to how to deal with those monsters of the deep that come up. And that's why they warn it, like almost they warn it, that if you are not in a psychologically stable condition, then do meditate, or do it with the help of some support, some guide who knows how to deal with these monsters of the deep. When shadows come up, one knows how to skillfully interact with it and transform it. Many a times we need support, and once we have done it with support for a long time or whatever time required for us, then we can, on our own, when these monsters arise, we can deal with them. But one must be in a stable condition. In a mentally disturbed condition, they actually warn that we must not even try it. Try it with support of a guided, some expert or some skilled therapist. Yeah. Yeah, would anyone want to go ahead, read ahead? From But Since Mostly.
But since mostly we are living our lives on the surface, tossed up and down by our thoughts and emotions, what do we need? We need a boat because even though a boat also goes up and down, it keeps us from becoming completely drenched and will gradually carry us to the other shore. The Buddha himself many times talked about the other shore, and that other shore is liberation. But we can't just swim because it is too far, and we will get tossed up and down too much and possibly drown. Therefore, we need a boat to cross the ocean of samsara, as we find in Shanti Deva's analogy of the boat of gaining human birth in the way of the Bodhisattva, cross the sea of emotions on the boat of human existence.
I think rest we can maybe take after the pause. Thank you. So I think this is really beautiful that we are wondering what is the boat, what is the boat, while we have the boat. We are the boat, the boat of human existence. As Mother shares, that this process of progress or evolution of consciousness can only happen with the human terrestrial existence. And that is why the preciousness of human birth. That human birth is not that we are here to have settled families and settled jobs and settled finances and everything settled, but we are here actually to make progress, and which will unsettle. Without unsettling, progress cannot come. So to be really prepared for all that unsettling, because the whole crux here is not of settling down but actually of progress. So that really brings our inner compass in a proper alignment. Because if I'm wondering that, oh, my house is not settling, my job is not settling, that as if I'm supposed to do all that settling while being human. But the very task in human life is not this settling down, but progress to be made as human beings. So this is the boat. That's why human birth is so precious. Otherwise, there is no difference between human and animal or plant consciousness, if not for this ability to progress, to become more than who we truly right now are. That's only given to man. That's why we say, that it's a precious birth. Otherwise, eating, drinking, sleeping, eliminating, reproducing, all that we see in animals also. But the progress aspect we don't see in many animals.
But Monica, even the progress aspect we don't see in the large populations of humans also, right? I mean, especially if not that they are not, but if poverty is your is your day to day, you have to live in poverty, or just finding your bread and butter for the daily, or your daily wages that you this thing. uh, is there something about that mother says that where progress for them, or because you also come with a certain soul choice, you come with your karmas and things like that, but so how how can that strata of probably people or society or this thing, how do they find that this progress, right? How because that's quite a, yeah, because as a I mean planet also, like on a larger level, if you look at it, sometimes you see so much of destruction, right, happening, or it is even among your own peers and your own groups of people. Simple things like even following sustainability or trying to, then how, where does that, yeah, progress sort of, what would be the definition probably again over there, right, for
Yeah. Yeah. Any thoughts? Anyone?
Yeah, I have something to share. Like, first of all, I don't know how to judge progress, and it's such a personal thing. But like, I used to also, I think again, I had read somewhere with my father that you need to have at least the basics to be walking on the path. Because if you're just so busy, arranging for your bread and butter, your next meal, how will you make the move? And yet, when I went for my first Vipassana course, which unlike the other courses, it had no fee. Like, it doesn't charge you anything. I saw people from so many different sectors, and like I remember one mother and daughter, they had walked like, I don't know, 12 hours to reach the center because they couldn't afford the bus. But they really wanted, because somebody in their village had done this and they felt that gave them a lot. So from that time, I think I just kept that down, that, that's not really true. If one wants to, even with or without the courses, like, how do we even know that the courses are very needed and it won't be without the course? I don't know, because somewhere the more we lack in general, the more, I don't know, grace or gratitude there is. I have or had a travel agency, and a lot of guests from outside used to come and especially visit Old Delhi. And 9 out of 10 would ask that how can people smile in India, right? Like that lady who's picking up the bricks on her head, doing it morning to evening. What reason does she have to even smile? And smile they do, right? Beautiful smiles. So again, this contentment, this progress, I think, no, with my limited mind, it's hard to know the truth, that whether it's happening or, yeah, it is happening for sure. But yeah, thank you.
thank you. Yeah, so that's something, yeah.
The way I think about this is it, the financial aspect which you're referring to is a is an accidental complexity in the equation, in the sense that uh, one needs to strive for it, but at the same time it is there, but it is not really essential. The essential is how you live, and how, with what lens a person is viewing. So no matter whether you're from a lower strata or a higher strata, I mean, we can always see examples of opposites. For example, I have a house help. She comes for utensils and the floor and everything, right? So she lives in a very small place, but I see her always smiling, and despite her problems, she has a body too, and everybody has a body. And every body means you're going to have physical pain. But how she tides beautifully, the approach, the the I don't have the word for that, but she just keeps smiling. And when you keep smiling at difficulties and problems, I think mother also shares somewhere that smile at the difficulty and it vanishes. So that's and that's what is progress, uh, is what I feel. But yeah, that's just how I'm looking at it. I could be wrong or right, I don't know, but I don't think so. It's also about right or wrong. It's just the perspective. Yeah, yeah, that's it from my side.
Yeah, thank you so much. Anyone else wants to add on anything? I think as Taru was pointing at earlier, that our definitions of progress we can't count on. I think that's the crux. We don't know what is progress. So this we don't know is a very good space to be, because then we can be open. That I don't know what progress is, and how can I be sure that looking at somewhere else, progress is not happening. And if we actually see mothers and Sri Aurobindo's text also and everything, I think slightly we get this idea that it is impossible that progress is not happening. That certitude is there. So either in ignorance or in consciousness, it is impossible that progress is not happening. So that's where mother shares that it is a divine certitude that the victory is here. And for that person who I may be looking at and thinking कि वहाँ पे progress हो रही है कि नहीं, maybe उसकी definition of progress बस इतनी है that, oh, today I was able to actually work for 2 hours a day, and next day I'm able to work 4 hours a day. Wow. For that person, that would be, maybe, who knows, for that person what is important. As you were sharing that, each person has chosen their own journey, their own, because of their own karma. And Sri Aurobindo also talks about that every soul decides what kind of birth it wants to take. And when we look at it that way, then even looking at beggar, or looking at a person who has less luxury or whatever, then we don't feel pity, because immediately there is a tendency to go into pity. I think then there's honor. Okay, I respect, I honor your choice that you have chosen to be here. There must be some experience you want to go through here. So I think there then we can a little, it's not that we will step back and let the world be. We will take stands and we will do whatever calling is there. But parallelly, there would also be that, oh, there is a bigger picture there that I don't know. तो वो एक, I think that's a good space to be. That whatever I may understand, how much I may texts I may read, yet the bigger picture will always be there. Then I would understand. And also regarding when Taru was sharing that, how do I know, that what is progress? I was reminded of this lady in Pondicherry, like village lady, and maybe living on streets, perhaps looked like. She came to the society hall where ashram society hall is there, when our conference was happening last year. And in the morning before the session started, she just came and she had a couple of flowers in her hands. And I can guarantee you that she did not know any English, or any reading or whatever. But what devotion, really, that she came, and then, wherever Sri Aurobindo's and mother's pictures were, she kept her flowers, she did the pranam and made a whole round, and then just, went away. Done. And as Dhavalji was sharing, that if one can smile in difficulties, as Taru was pointing at, that in middle of such a chaotic Indian whatever going on, we see actually, I think that's one can really, many foreigners fall in love with India because of this, that how can you smile when your state is such dire in terms of outer circumstances? That's the beauty. And that tells us that the soul, the spirit, can shine in no matter how hard the circumstances are. In fact, even the harder the circumstances, many a time we see that spirit shines even more. That's the beauty of it. So, just a funny incident, today in Gurgaon, I think today itself, there was a traffic keeper on red light, and there was this jugaad in India. Usually you have this jugaad kind of things, with half motorcycle, half auto, and half maybe trailer, tractor. They fixed all jumbled up it together. They usually call it jugaad, so they don't have an other name for it. So जो भी जिसका piece मिला जो चलता हुआ है, they put it together and they make really interesting things out of it. So four people, probably homeless, I don't know, living where. They were sitting on this jugaad and one person was driving it. And the traffic person was looking at it and he really looked at it like, where has this come from? Like, is this true? And he looked at his all the angles, that what is this creature, that you are sitting on? And then he took out his mobile phone and took a picture from a couple of angles and then called those people aside. I don't know for what, but yeah, it's so, in the middle of so-called rules and things which are happening in structure all the time, you have these things which are just out of nowhere. And yeah, people are alive, people are thriving, still.
The
Yeah.
Monica ji, one more
Yes,
place
yes.
where the mother says, earth is the field of progress. There's one line, I don't know where she says, but the mother says very clearly, the earth is the field of progress.
Yeah, she also mentions that in commentaries on Life Divine, when she's reflecting over a few lines of Life Divine, she
Yeah.
expresses that. Yes.
There's a beautiful line in Savitri. I don't know. It's in I think in the Book of Pain, also uh, where the where the earlier commentator was referring. Sorry, I don't know her name, but uh, in the war situation and all. So there's a beautiful two-liner there. I forgot. He he's or even in the poem of Sri Aurobindo Krishna, he says he rides in the car and he strikes in the spheres, uh, but at the same time he's compassionate. So he wars for the world and its ultimate years. So very beautiful lines in the poem Who, yeah,
Yeah.
by Sri Aurobindo.
Yes. Yes.
And in Savitri, he says, I'm watching all this. This is happening according to my will only. As silence watches the something of that line is there. I forgot, but yeah. Sorry, go ahead. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up. Yes. Yeah. Any more additions here? Anyone? I think this is very consoling. First of all, these few lines that we have the boat 24/7. We have the boat. How to now make good use of it. And also knowing that this other shore, many a times it may appear very far away, like when will I reach liberation, many the mind slips to somewhere else. So I think we have to know, and it's not me saying it, masters have said it, that every moment is either samsara or nirvana. When we are entangled in our thoughts, too much obsessed with ourselves, that is samsara. And when we are liberated from that bondage of me, little me, then that's liberation in that very moment. We may lose it, we keep on losing it, and yet we still have glimpses of it. All of us, I think I don't even have to ask anyone. All of us have glimpses of both samsara and nirvana. And the only thing is to practice and be vigilant that the moment samsara emerges, one, takes that opportunity and steps back. Yeah. So this other shore is there moment by moment. Just wanted to add on this. It's not somewhere else. Right here, we have it. Yeah. Cross the sea of emotions, many a times, masters in many bhajans and songs, devotional songs, they have said, that, please take me out of this bhav sagar, bhavnao ka sagar, emotional overwhelm. So cross the sea of emotions on the boat of human existence. So there's another great boat that is being talked about. Maybe we can take up this last paragraph and then end here today. So anyone who want to take this up? Now we have this. Yes, Jayashri. Yes.
Now we have this great boat, which is the Dharma, but it is also this precious human life, so hard to obtain. Every single one of us has a precious human birth. We might think, well, billions of people have a precious human birth, so what? But it is not true. A precious human birth does not mean just being born as a human. There are many other factors in the context of Buddha Dharma that make a precious human birth. Being born in a Buddhist country or place where Buddha Dharma is still accessible, having all our faculties, having faith in the Dharma, finding a teacher, and so forth. We are not born in the higher realms where everything is pleasant and there is no incentive to practice. And we are not born in the lower realms where there is so much misery and suffering that we are completely caught up in our own paranoia. Now, nor are we born among the animals who, lovable as so many of them are, do not have the ability to really practice the spiritual path in this lifetime. What makes a human life precious? For a start, we can read, and that's an amazing thing in this world. But what is even more remarkable is that we can actually comprehend what we read most of the time. Even though we may not be able to read all the Buddhist texts and know exactly what they mean, we can pick up a book on Dharma, and providing it is not too obtuse, we can get something out of it. The words have meaning, certainly. If we pick up an ordinary book on basic Dharma practices or biographies of lamas or other great teachers, we can understand them easily and curl up with them and understand the content. We can understand concepts that have read about but not experienced directly. The mind can grapple with ideas and contemplate them.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. So I think this is really this paragraph is very precious. I am nowadays also finding it because, this ability to think, ability to reflect, we have no idea how many billions of cells are working to make this function, to which we are not contributing at all. I mean, they are just going on and on and on and making this happen. Because this is not a possibility with each and every person you will meet. And I've been in touch lately with somebody, who is losing his sense of understanding. And there you see that, oh my God, nothing at all is in your hands. So now that I have the ability to understand, can I make good use of it? And that's why they say Durga Ma, or that's why in Navratras we pray to the mother. Mother is this force, life force, which makes us function. The billions of cells that are functioning all by themselves without even letting us know that they are functioning. And one gets disturbed, and you lose your cognitive function, you lose your balance, you lose your ability to understand. We have no clue. So this is the Divine Mother. This is also an aspect of Prakriti, Prakriti, which is making us function. The movements in our head, the movements of feelings, emotions. Because even feelings, emotions, isn't it beautiful that we can feel? Isn't it beautiful that we can have sadness, we can have sorrow, we can have all these emotions? Because not everyone can have. Visit a psychiatry ward, visit a mental hospital, and you would know that it is not like it's just corrected all the time. It can go haywire. So I think this is very, very precious, this paragraph, because on this basis, we so-called people who understand through our minds by reading texts, our understanding is standing on this. It is the base, our mind, our thoughts, our ability to think, reflect. This is the base of our understanding. This is the base of our spiritual progress. Because how will you ask a person to spiritually progress who is losing his cognitive function? He can't. He can't. Even if you know, he doesn't, he can't even have the willingness to learn. So आप देखो that even the will to learn that we take for so granted, isn't that grace that it's functional? Oh my God, I have a will to learn. And I can take steps towards that learning. I'm not incapacitated. So as long as Kabir also shares exactly the same thing, that so long as your body is functional, make use of this. Because when the body loses its function, which it will lose ultimately in old age, or before, who knows, what strikes when, then you won't be able to use the time wisely, because you won't be capable of doing that. And that's why we see that with human beings specifically, when we lose our cognitive abilities and we lose the ability to have a sense of purpose in life, meaning in life, very soon the soul decides to move on to the next life. Why? Because we are here for progress, and now when the progress is over, it's not happening, we have become vegetable like, okay, happy to take a new cloth. क्योंकि काम ही यही था, अब काम खत्म हो गया, the cloth is not capable of that purpose. So as long as our functional abilities are there, which are so precious, it's grace. We often wonder about, oh, there is no divine grace in my life, I can't feel the mother. you know but we miss this grace, which is making us think that, oh, I can't feel the mother. That's also grace. Yeah, so this is very precious, very, very, I think, very precious paragraph, that the mind can grapple with ideas and contemplate them. Yes, Shreya?
Strangely, what's coming to me is that if my cognitive abilities were a little dimmer or dull or slower, then my mind would be sort of at peace or rest. I wouldn't be, caught up in these stories that I am through the day. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm unable to somehow do 1 plus 1 here.
Yeah. No, you are
And
right. You will have peace. You are very right. And people who are losing their cognitive functions or memory, at least in some examples, I do see that yes, there is peace, there is contentment. But what do you really want? I mean, just a dumb peace or some progress along with peace?
So what is that progress, right? I mean, when I think of progress, I mean, when we talk about meditation, it's to quieten the mind, to be in the moment, and isn't that happening in that state?
I couldn't get what exactly. Rephrase, please, rephrase.
Yeah, so what I mean is that w- w- when we talk about meditation, for example, that meditation as a practice is very important. And so we are trying to quieten the mind, we are trying to be in the moment, like how animals also are in a way, right? Very instinctive and in the moment. They're not thinking about past and future. So I'm just trying to wonder that what is what is the beauty of having this mind really? And it's, I think
Yeah.
I'm not
So,
sure. I'm not convinced I understand that what is the advantage of having this mind. I mean, yes, I can think about like, think about subjects like science and math and, like, I don't know, but
yeah.
is
So animal is also conscious, plant is also conscious,
right.
right? But they don't know that they are conscious. So when you are conscious, what you are asking, what is the preciousness of human mind? So in
Yes.
one aspect, one little aspect that comes to me right away is that I can see what I am thinking. And in that seeing itself, progress can happen. How? How? That when I am seeing something in my house is rotting, where is the progress? I have the ability to make effort and put the rotten piece away where it belongs. That ability is there only with human beings. In that extent, to that degree, it's also there with animals, but in this
Right.
degree that we can actually be present for ourselves throughout and look at, oh, this is the thought I am having, okay, beneficial, not beneficial, poison, not poison. So this ability to sort and organize is in a greater degree available to human beings. So we have the ability to be conscious that we are conscious.
Yeah, I think so. That is, I think, the distinguishing one, the ability to reflect. Um, that's the most distinguishing hallmark of a human being.
Absolutely. And if we don't make use of that, then of course it's good to be like a cow, or like a, like as you were sharing, that aren't animals more peaceful, or a person with a kind of dumb cognitive function would be more peaceful. Yes, he would be, or maybe not, because depends on what kind of an ailment it is, because in some ailments it could actually become a misery. The mind could actually become more miserable, rather than in some other cognitive dysfunction it may become actually that you are not able to even make sense of it, so you are peaceful, you don't even know what disease you have. That is the extent of the cognitive dysfunction. So it will depend on disease to disease, illness to illness. But look at this, just I would request you to look at this stark kind of, what can I say, like, i I see that something is rotting in my house, but the thing is that I just can't make effort to keep that rotting thing away. And I'm wondering that, oh, why do I have this sense that can see the rotten thing?
You know,
ये कहाँ से आया? हाँ.
that's where I feel like if you look at nature, if you observe animals, animals are able to do that. I mean, if like if they will hunt, for example, if cats hunt, they'll eat in a certain way, and then they'll not leave things littered around. They neatly bury things, and it's just like there's a system. They are very instinctive, and I just feel that I'm failing to see the advantage of having a higher cognitive function. Maybe I'm missing something. I I feel
So you don't
somewhere
see
I
any
don't know what to
advantage in, for example, you are able to ask this question. You are able to see this. You don't see any advantage in that. That in a platform, I'm able to see this happening and I'm able to ask a question about this. You see
Yeah, but
that,
all of this because of my mind, because I'm suffering, and because that suffering's brought me here. So the mind seems to be the source of the problem. So what
yeah,
is the benefit of having it?
yeah,
That's the question, right?
yeah.
So wasn't I better with an animal birth? Like if I look at my cat,
Hmm.
isn't that cat living a life more connected to
Hmm.
its being,
Do you
like
see an aspect of laziness and inertia there?
yes, of course, but that's also because I mean, the cat is being kept in a house in an unnatural environment,
No,
and
I'm talking about your own self, not the cat.
in my,
Because I don't know the cat. I don't, we can talk about human beings a little, but we have no idea how it is to be a cat. So let's not go there. I am a human
of
being.
course, there is a lot of inertia in
Inertia,
my being.
yes, yes. Because you know that there are steps to be taken, there are efforts to be done, but since there is so much inertia to come out of our comfort zones in which we are settled, we wonder that, better I would not be able to see it. So why the use of this mind? Because I am able to see it, yet I'm not able to do anything about it, right? So you wonder that इससे अच्छा तो यही होता कि दिखता ही नहीं, ये दिमाग ही नहीं होता. So
Hey, Monica, what I'm trying to say is that the inertia also comes from the mind stories, and because of the habits that have been developed along the way because of the mind stories.
hmm,
And if those mind stories had not been there, maybe I would have been living a more instinctive life, a life more like a baby, right? I
hmm,
mean, the baby's born connected to its being, and they cry when they are hungry, and it's very instinctive.
hmm,
So we lose all of that along the way because of the mind,
hmm,
and now we are trying to go back there. So I'm failing to see what is the advantage of having a mind, a higher cognitive function.
hmm, hmm, hmm. Good. I think it's a good question. We must hold on to it. Yes. Maybe in time we will see.
I don't even know if it's me missing something, but just right now, this is where I feel. I mean, if I have to be an artist or a scientist, I can appreciate the mind.
Hmm.
But in this conversation, I'm just failing to see the advantage of even
Yeah.
having a mind.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. Yeah.
No, so I get what I think. Something came up the other day, and which is so true. Like in the animal kingdom, there is definitely a system, right? And you don't intervene and sort of stop that process of, okay, there is hunting, there is, I have taken the food, there is a system that is being followed. All right. I think what also sometimes disturbs the thing that because there is a collective of minds, right? There is so many things happening. I mean, as a human, you don't want to, and frankly, I don't want to see war happening, right? We've been hearing about war, we've been hearing about. So, where does this truly, like, this is a collective of minds which where one mind has thought of something like this, and therefore it has led to this let's say destruction, or let's say the shattering of that, places or people, and people have been displaced and things like that. Whereas I think in the animal kingdom, like, it doesn't happen, right? They don't reverse the order and prey upon whatever that they are doing. This reminds me, so the other day somebody had called up and, sort of, I think they were a little bit disturbed, upset over something. And she mentioned that, they watched this particular program where there was this particular, I don't know what his name is, but I think there's some Gopal Das or something, one of the, and somebody asked him that, has Kaliyug got over, or when will, Kaliyug get over, or whatever, something like that. That was the question. I mean, and she had watched it, and she was narrating this thing. And he says that, ये तो कुछ नहीं है, अभी भी घोर कलयुग आने वाला है, where man will eat man. I mean, and it made me think, so I think that progress element, right? I mean, sometimes, frankly, I wouldn't expect someone to tell in, who has probably looking at from that particular space, or this kind of a person, to say something like that, right? Okay, yes, it's good for you to probably show maybe there are some things coming up, maybe there is destruction, maybe this will happen, and maybe it will not happen. But yeah, what Shreya sometimes says, sometimes you think, right, there is a collective of minds, or there are minds, or there are people that sometimes, things are happening. This mind is capable of thinking of something so terrible for another person, or for, whether it is for a plant, whether it is for a because we are ruining Amazon forest, we are cutting down trees, we are beating up animals in the middle of the road, because they are not doing it back, right? So I think that's where the conflict, or whatever that conflict lies, right? You see, sometimes, like you said, yes, the mind can cause us misery, but the mind can also give us, a certain, a level of joy or happiness or peace. But humans are the ones that we are doing it, right? I mean, we are in that
Yeah.
that earth, whatever progress, or that field of progress, if we are looking at, we are doing it. Yes, progress also we are doing, destruction also we are doing. So the animals cannot be blamed, or plantation around us, because they've been there for millions of years, right? I mean, so maybe, yeah, that's
Beautiful. I think what the aspect you touched, have many masters also have talked about that. I think in one of the, maybe it's Baba Farid, or what song, where he says "Bazi le gaye kutte," some
Acha, okay,
song where he say. So in fact, that we have become so lower than even the animals, because that in fact an animal is better than a
then,
human being in the current
yeah,
state.
state.
But the thing is that an animal is more loyal to its instinct. Bulle Shah, yeah, thank you, Shilpi. So the animal does not have the capacity to be more than his instinct. He is absolutely loyal to the instinct, which is like, the basics, and he would not be cruel to earth, for example, because he's true to his instinct. He does not have the capacity to be either go up or go down, right? But in case of human beings, because we are supposed to progress and go higher than who we right now are, that's why there is also this capacity to go even lower. So
Lower.
absolutely resonate, and I think all of us would resonate that it's the human beings who have caused more destruction than, for example, animals, or yeah, true, yes, it has a point. Yes, Taru, you wanted to add on something?
Yeah, just there's this article in that Tales of Prison Life which talks about, tamas, sattva, and rajas. And when I had read it, like I had also wondered, because it also speaks about, there's a peace in tamas. And sometimes you feel you're doing very sattvic thing, but there's this peace which it's tamasic, like when you're not doing anything. So I was just recommending that in case Shreya would want to read that, I know we can share that article. It's really
Yeah,
nice because
yeah.
that how Jetsunma talks about that cow, like
Cow sitting
how,
in the chaos. Yeah,
yeah, if you could just speak a bit on
yeah,
that, I think then we
yeah.
can.
Yeah, I'll share that article with Shreya and also all of the rest of us. So basically, I think two things, very important points, that since everything got distorted in manifestation, and that's why progress is there, because there is imperfection. Progress वहीं हो सकती है जहाँ पे imperfection है. Where everything is perfect in the realms of gods, they say you can't actually progress because कुछ है नहीं ना. There is nothing to progress. Things are perfect. So progress can happen where things are imperfect, and that's where we can validate our imperfections, that yes, you are there, and that's why I can progress. So they say that in this realm of manifestation, terrestrial existence, peace has inverted. Sri Aurobindo says peace has inverted and inverted into tamas. So there are many people you would see around you who are actually very settled in their being, very peaceful, but they don't progress as much in life. They are very stable beings. They have ethics, they have morals, very settled within themselves. But most of it is tamasic peace. So, in this yoga, integral yoga, I think this is a very valid point again, that to be very wary of such kind of peace. Not only in integral yoga, good that you connected that with what Jetsunma also shares. And she shares that if we do for a very long time shamatha meditation, that bring your attention on the breath and stay focused on the breath, it can actually, you become actually like a cow. And what is a cow? We all know in India, a cow can be in the middle of the road. Trucks may be going around, but it will not move. It has just settled. So that's why they talk about the importance of vipassana. Because with shamatha comes vipassana, with along with that, first comes shamatha, and they also recommend that to do shamatha not for a long time, but for shorter times, and then to add on vipassana, which is insight meditation, where your mind is silent now, okay, but now it's receiving the insights and intuitive wisdom, because without that we are actually cows. But with vipassana we have insight, we have wisdom, so we have progress also. So there are intricacies, here. Yeah. और होता है, काफी बार हम देखते हैं, many times people begin to follow some meditation or some kind of ritual, and they become very kind of tha, like only stable, very stable, stable. But then I have also seen, once in Zurich, when uh, I was trying to explore certain things, and I used to meet these people, Brahma Kumaris, and they would do this Raj Yoga. Once I went with a picnic and an outing with them, these people who would do meditations and yoga. I would enjoy the meditation. It was quite peaceful. Again, talking of that tamasic peace, which can arise anywhere, not only in Brahma Kumaris. So what happened that I saw those people, specifically a couple of beings there, ladies, who were actually in the home when we were doing sadhana. They are very peaceful, very quiet, because things are to their liking. But the moment things changed, the outer circumstances, I could see actually anxiety, panic, and fear on their faces. Because it's a tamasic kind of peace, it's not a dynamic peace. So in fact, after that, I could not go there. I could not convince myself to go there, because I told myself that I don't want such kind of a peace, which actually becomes more anxious and with panic when it meets people and have interactions. Yeah. Taru, you wanted to share?
Yeah, just one last thing from my end. It's like how they say empty the cup. So the sentence doesn't end there, right? The purpose is not a empty cup. The purpose is that empty your cup so that grace can flow. So I think similarly, the destination is not just peace, because that is there in tamas too. Because what will you do with just peace? So there's a peaceful state so that one can fight the real war, right? So that one can withdraw from the unnecessary and go to the main thing. So the purpose of peace also, or the, yeah, just that. So there is further to peace than just peace. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Yeah. But it's good to have, parallelly, what Shreya was sharing, it's good to have peace. But as Taru was pointing at, that just peace is not enough. क्योंकि we will have to fight the war. War is everywhere. Within our minds, there is a war. Outside, there is a war. So, with a solid peace within, unshakable peace within, why do I want it? Because so that the right things can be done, right actions, right things can be done. Otherwise, what is the need? So, for example, if I want more money, more money, more money, more money, wait, what will I do with the money? Just like that. And we, again, this is, we all are very, very fortunate. Jetsunma again and again shares in her many talks that we are very fortunate that in this lifetime we have the ability to practice spirituality or whatever, reflect over it and to get the teachings. Nowadays teachings are so handy, like YouTube, teaching is there, you go to Google, teaching is there. Everywhere you find teachings.
Okay, I'm going to take leave. Thank
Yeah,
you so
sure.
much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
good
Bye
night.
bye. Bye bye.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any last comments before we end, anyone?
It's a very interesting concept, tamasic peace.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll
Yes,
share that document that Taru was sharing. Yes. With you. In the Aryan, when Sri Aurobindo talks about the Aryan spirit, there also he talks about the tamasic peace, and he talks about when Indians were taken into, captive by the British rule. He actually talks that the Indian spirituality had degraded into this tamasic quality, because if it is a piece of a sattvic quality, that's like a warrior piece. And usually we would say that, oh, we were so bhola and innocent that British, captured us. So it's not bholapan, it's actually a tamasic quality of peace. So Sri Aurobindo does talk about that also. So he asks us to go towards the sattvic peace, and then to, of course, go beyond even all the three gunas. So tamas to rajas, rajas to sattva, and then, as Shivji has this Trishul where he goes beyond the three gunas. बट पहले हमको वो बियॉन्ड एकदम से नहीं हो सकता ना, मतलब तमस से एकदम से बियॉन्ड नहीं जा सकते. तमस से, दैट्स व्हाई दे टॉक अबाउट हैव पैशंस इन लाइफ. मदर ऑल्सो टॉक्स अबाउट दिस, that it's good to have passions in life than dull inertia. So follow your passions, so they also have a purpose. Tamas se rajas, and then from rajas, when you see that even consumptions and passions are not really fulfilling, then you go towards even a sattvic kind of quality, and then beyond that, whatever is there. Yeah. Long journey for each one of us. Okay. So thank you everyone. Thank you for joining in. Just taking one last moment before we leave to just take this moment to share all the merit with all the sentient beings throughout the existence. And may each one of us, including my own self, may we have peace at heart and joy and progress in life. Thank you. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Night.
Thank you.
Bye.